Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are gonna be continuing the narration series for the module short stories located on the various operators in Arknights. And in today's module short story, we are gonna be looking over the story for Irene. And I know, yes, after a solid month of nothing but Undertides and Stultifera Navis stories on this channel, we are not done yet, and we are apparently never going to be done with that, considering there is still Integrated Strategies 3 in the future, and still the potential for another story in this whole line. But today we're going to be looking at Irene's short story. But before we go into that, let me say a couple of things as per usual about the unit itself. As a character, what can I say about her? Nothing but it was amazing to watch her evolve as a character from the start of Undertides all the way to the end of Stultifera Navis, plus the operator record, her operator record to be exact, that acts as a small little epilogue to the whole Stultifera story. Was very nice. Was very nice watching her evolve as a person, as a character, as a unit on top of it. But regardless of that, probably had as a unit, she probably has one of my favorite skill 3s in the game. And anybody who has seen that skill knows why. That little spin dance of death with guns and levitation is amazing to look at. And it sounds ridiculous. But regardless of that, let's go to her module, shall we? The module itself gives her attack up and defense up as they usually do. It's either that or max HP, but it's usually always attack. But on top of it, it gives her this little attack ignores 70 defense. So continuously throughout anything she does, she will always ignore 70 flat defense points on a enemy. Plus, just as a reminder, her first talent gives her already a 50% chance to ignore 50% of defense on an enemy. Plus, if she is using if she's hitting targets that are aerial units, aka targets that she pretty much lifts up into the air, it's gonna proc with 100% chance. So yeah, I don't know how much this influences her as a unit. It's very, very necessary, but it's pretty much an overall DPS increase over time. So good shit. Now, as for the module itself, the title of the module is, and I hope I'm pronouncing the second word in here correctly, considering I've heard two different pronunciations for this, but I'm gonna go with Liber Sacher, something like that. Essentially meaning, I think it means holy book, sacred scripture, something sacred book. I think was the translation that I found. But essentially, the module itself is literally a sacred book, like the thing indicates. The Iberian holy scriptures, essentially. Plus, why not have some bullets in there? And those are some big bullets for a hand, but it's a hand cannon on the other hand, so yes, it makes sense. I do like the purple little Inquisition tips. those are kind of a neat little detail. I guess the Inquisition has to have everything in purple, right? But regardless of that, let's get into today's story. So, once again, the title of the story and the module itself is Liber Sacher, and the story goes as follows. The miracle child whose life was saved by these scriptures, so they all called her at first. A sudden calamity destroyed the whole town, leaving only her surviving, saved by a passing High Inquisitor and taken back to the Inquisition. It is typically the penal battalion elite that are qualified to become Inquisitors, but she was firm of faith, and it was necessary to her to become one. She had to commit all the laws to memory, for she had been chosen. She had to be first in all classes, for she was special among the special. In a sparring drill, she was beaten to within an inch by an opponent over 10 years her senior, but in spite of it, she refused to fall. As her awareness neared incoherence, she heard her maestro tell her one thing. The scriptures save people, they did not save you alone. As if she had heard her maestro pass judgment on her, she let out a great breath, and for the first time conceded her loss. High Inquisitor Dario's darling disciple, as many people came to speak of her later on. If the proper verdict is not written in the scriptures, then it must come from her maestro's mouth. She was so firm of faith, it could never pass evaluation. Until one time she involuntarily blurted out a judicial opinion contrary to her maestro. Her maestro repealed her verdict, but gave her a nod to see. Inquisitor Irene, so she frequently proclaimed herself from the day she was formally appointed by the Inquisition. Her maestro spoke that she had to make her own judgments. She turned through the past archives again and again, sped to scenes of greatest danger, one after another, and within a few brief years, she had resolved close to 100 cases. Each time she reported her verdicts to her maestro, he would refuse to comment. Until the day they bade farewell on the shore of Gran Faro, and she confronted the ocean alone and the menace it delivered. The scriptures, the maestro, and the self, all wills merged as one in the face of true danger, becoming the fire that blazes forth from her hand cannon. Irene, Inquisition messenger of Iberia, saw the dainty Liberi introduce herself aboard Rhode Island. She still proudly lifts her head. The look in her eyes is more resolute than it was ever before, undying as the reefs of Iberia's coastline that will never see themselves drowned again. And there we go, that will be today's module short story. Pretty much a condensed character summary, including her past and present. And yeah, what can I say? Like I said before, I enjoyed really watching her grow as a character throughout the story, finding herself, her resolve, and yeah, pretty enjoyable character. What else can I say? And if in the future, hopefully in the future, we get a third part to this whole Iberia, Ager stuff, Seaborn stuff, I hope that she's going to be part once more again of the story, even though she is right now in Rhode Island, while the rest of them are still in Iberia. But still, would be nice if she gets included again in the future story for once the story hopefully goes to Ager. But who knows, we'll see when the time comes. But for now, this will be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this little short story. Not the most craziest short story out there, but pretty much a condensed version of what her character growth was, and partially paraphrasing what her character growth was throughout the story without actually spoiling anything from the big story points of Stultifera, which is kind of a surprise. But then again, so did Spectre Alter's short story also not spoil pretty much anything from the story itself, if I remember correctly. But yeah, anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and as usual, I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.